Ladies and gentlemen, tonight we have a special edition main event, an Iron Man podcast. Coming to the microphone, standing 6 feet tall, weighing 150 pounds, the mess from the west, the High Ranger, Keen Mendo! Okay, ladies and gentlemen, I hope you're all doing very well. Tonight's podcast is going to be an Iron Man one. I'm going to get through so much shit, it's going to blow your mind. I'm going to start off by reviewing the 9th of September episode of AEW Dynamite, and let me tell you, this got off to a fantastic start. MJF pulling up on one side, Chris Jericho pulling up in the other, Tony Schiavone in the middle, and these two jawing at each other with really fake positive vibes. I was totally into it. It was an amazing way to start it. These two guys are absolute... they're just so funny, and they're the two best promo people that AEW have by so far. So to get them face to face with each other was so fantastic, and I loved the finish when the camera cut away to both of them, and they just looked at it and said, "Ugh, what a loser." It was so good. These guys, I hope at some stage they have a feud together because the promos would be worth it, worth the pay-per-view alone. Now, after we had the comedy skits, we started off with another ripper match. Jurassic Express against the Lucha Brothers with Eddie Kingston and Butcher and Blade at the ringside as well. So you knew they were going to get involved at some point. And a weird little caveat that I noticed within the first few minutes of the match was that there was a shout out to TNT, the NBA announce crew, and I think that was because Reggie Miller actually shouted out Dynamite in a playoff game a couple of weeks back, and he said that Jurassic Express were his daughter or son's favorite team, which is not surprising. They're absolutely awesome, and who doesn't love a giant dinosaur that kicks people in the head? But what was really funny was about a week or so after that, Jurassic Express were in one of those screens courtside at the NBA. Now, I know Reggie Miller pulled some strings to get him those tickets, let me tell you. Very good work, boys. Very good work. But yeah, I don't even have to tell you guys how insane this match was. This has a classic written all over it, and I was really, really impressed throughout the whole thing. It was just a fun match with lots of high-flying moves, not much interference from Butcher, Blade, and Eddie Kingston, which I kind of like. Like, we don't need those guys interfering. Lucha Brothers are their own people, let them fight for themselves. It's a really good sign of respect within that faction, I guess you'd say. Yeah, it was just a really fun match, and I mean, Jurassic Express got over in the end, and I think a lot of why this is happening is because Jungle Boy is just taking leaps and bounds every week in his ability to wrestle. He is absolutely fantastic. Some of the shit he does is just so clean and crisp, and I mean, you put him in there with amazing wrestlers like the Lucha Brothers, you're going to have guaranteed success. It was... One thing that did kind of weird me out was after the match, the Lucha Brothers seemed to get into a fight. Penta was so pissed off with Rey Fenix, and I know these guys are biological brothers and stuff like that, and again, wrestling is part of a storyline or something like that, like Eddie Kingston had to bring them back together, but, they're biological brothers. They shouldn't have these arguments, and if they are, they shouldn't be at the end of the match where it's just refusing to get around each other and try and pick yourselves up after the loss. Like, if biological people turn on each other, you need to start using some hardcore shit, I think. Like, you need to really be vindictive, you really need to be personal, and it needs to be a really savage turn for this to happen. So I was a bit weirded out by that, but I mean, in the end, it was kind of good. Eddie Kingston cut another promo trying to get these guys to calm down, and I mean, this dude speaks with such passion. This dude he is fantastic on the mic. You can just hear the love and respect for everyone in his promos. And I mean, just like, he seems to break kayfabe a fair bit, like he's referring to these guys as his friends, and he's got nicknames for them all that you can tell aren't what other people call them, like he kept on calling Penta Pa, which I kind of really like that aspect of his character. Is really good. After this, we had a Jake Roberts promo hyping up Lance Archer. They were in some fucking dark alleyway or some shit and talking Bible verses. I don't know. Jake the Snake's weird as hell. Like, I think at one stage he said, "Everybody gets wet," and he's talking about the rain. I don't know. It's just a buzzed out. I don't get it. I'll have more on him later though. And I mean, it doesn't really do much for Archer as a character other than just put him off as this weird guy who's a little bit crazy. And it's not the right type of weird for him, you know? Like this whole biblical poetry stuff they got going on, I ain't about that. I think needs to be canned and moved for more direct stuff because Jake can talk. Jake can talk, and like he's a bit of a weird guy himself. So like I get why they're doing this, but they're really similar but not the same. Would be the best if you ask me. And then we cut back into the ring, and it was Matt Hardy in there giving everyone an update on how he's going, which was good to see. Although I'll be honest, it sounded like a bloody election speech or something like that. He kept on, and I mean, I know it was very legitimate and stuff like that. He was thanking the fans truly and thankfully for the outpouring of support that he's seen, which is fine and fair enough. But after a while, all I could think of was just vote one for Matt Hardy for president. Like, Jesus Christ, this dude was campaigning hard. I mean, he even got a shout out in for the Boys Private Party. Love those guys. Isaiah Cassidy and Mark Queen. Whoop, whoop. Shots, shots, shots. Love that. The next match we had was again another fantastic match. It has the reading to be absolutely awesome. Orange Cassidy versus Angelico, and I mean Angelico hasn't really had much time on Dynamite lately. Like, I don't remember when his last match on Dynamite was, but this kid can go. And I saw submission moves in that match that I had never seen before from him, and it was absolutely fantastic. The weirdest part of it was as soon as Orange Cassidy got on top, he just mashed him. I absolutely mashed him. This had the chance to be an absolute barnstormer of a match. Even try and steal the show from Lucha Brothers and Jurassic Express, you know? It had that opportunity. These two young guys are ready and hungry, and it was just buzzed out. And, you know, obviously Santana and Ortiz came out afterwards and beat on Orange Cassidy. Maybe they were trying to squeeze that in and stuff like that, which is cool. I kind of like this whole best friends Santana and Ortiz stuff, and it paid off in the end because those best friends came out and they were best friends on a fucking mission. These guys were just, nah, bro, meet us in the parking lot next week. So it's going to be a parking lot brawl for the 16th of September episode of Dynamite, which I cannot wait for. Finally, some retribution. And shout out to Chucky T for rocking a t-shirt of all of them grayscale in the minivan with Sue. That was absolutely choice. I'm very happy with that. And then one of the interviewers knocked on the Young Bucks hotel room to see if what they were up to, or perhaps get an interview with them to explain their actions over the last week. And they just opened the door and super kicked him in the face. It was crazy. I have no idea why they're doing that. Like, they're not that, they shouldn't be playing that type of character. They're not big enough to play that monster dominant heel. I love these guys. They're fantastic. What they're doing is so good. But you can't, it just doesn't fit with them. It's like they don't have the look to pull off the snapped crazy either, you know? Like, sure, they're probably going for some vindictive, you know, revenge sort of style character, but like, you guys look like a calculated cerebral people, you know? Like, just no. And I mean, I thought they would do something to you know, Hangman, or do something to just come in after tag teams win matches and just, you know, beat the shit out of them. That would be awesome. That would be more believable, you know? But alas, they're just super kicking whoever the hell they want, which is fine by them. They pretty much run the company. They can do whatever they want. But apparently it was said they had a $5,000 fine each afterwards for kicking it. Whatever, like, that's real. After that, we had yet another promo, which, how many is that now? 1, 2, 3, 4. This is the 5th promo already, and we've only had 2 matches, so getting pretty heavy on that, but luckily they've all been pretty good quality so far. So this one was Kip Sabian's reveal of his best man, and I mean, realistically, in my eyes, they should have just brought him out straight away. Instead, they had two other wrestlers almost on the roster come out and, you know, pretend to be the best man. One of them was Brian Pillman Jr., who was playing an absolute loose unit. I mean, good on him for getting on TV. We got him because I like that kid. He's got a bright future ahead of him. But, you know, whatever. It is what it is. But eventually, Kip Sabian got to his reveal, and let me tell you what a goddamn reveal it was. It was Miro, the Bulgarian Beast. If you don't know who he is, he's formerly known as Rusev when he wrestled in the big leagues. And again, they played off the Bulgarian angle and foreign angle and stuff like that. He had much longer hair back then, but this guy can flat out go. I absolutely love him. He is a brute who is just you look at him and you're like, man, how does this guy move this fast? It's such an amazing thing to see someone of that size move the way he does. He's got an excellent plethora of moves, and just he is fantastic. He is going to have some awesome matches. I expect him to start just tearing through opponents in no time. Probably gonna challenge for a title very soon. I mean, there's a lot of potential good matches out there for him. You know, in fact, pretty much anyone who on this roster would have a good match with him. So yeah, looking forward to seeing what the future holds for Miro. I mean, Kip Sabian's got to have his wedding sometime soon, I guess. I don't really get how he's involved. I mean, Miro was coming in saying he's the best man, not a best man, the best man. So I can't imagine this working or hanging around for too long. But I mean, let's see what they can do. Let's see what they can do together. I'm looking forward to it. I mean, after this, we had the 6th interview / promo, and that was Hangman being interviewed by Tony about how he's about how he's feeling after the loss to Hangman and I mean, loss to Kenny and everything and all that fallout. And I mean, it started off pretty good. Hangman asking if Tony wants a drink while he's got a full whiskey in his hand. Like, absolutely love that shit. And I mean, after a while, there was a lot of emotional digging from Tony, asking some deep psychological questions. I mean, at time it felt like a bit like he should have been laying down on the couch telling him about all his problems. It's starting to sound like these two were actually in love. It's kind of funny. But I mean, Hangman is goddamn spiraling. Let me tell you, he is just losing his mind. He's doing it so well too. Like he feels like the saddest puppy dog I've ever seen in my life. Like I just want to pat him and say, "Don't worry, Hangman. We'll do some cowboy shit. Don't worry. It'll be okay. It'll be okay." Finally, after this, we had a match between Sonny Kiss and Joey Janela, who again, Sonny's sick. I love Sonny. Absolute badass wrestler. But Joey Janela, he was up almost in the main event when AEW started, but you can see just the talent around him has just got too great, and he's not really much today, which is a real shame. I mean, I do like the hardcore aspect of his gimmick that he likes using weapons and stuff like that. That's cool, and I think if they utilize that a bit better, maybe he could become a viable character on the show. But at the moment, not really. I mean, they tag teamed against Chris Jericho and Jake Hager in a no disqualification tag team match. Now, this is kind of buzzed out because it obviously suits 3 of these wrestlers and not one of them. But I mean, they all got their spots in, which was really good. I mean, Hager's trying to get his revenge on Sonny Kiss for eliminating him in the Casino Royale. But honestly, how are Y2J and Hager losing this? Like, there's no chance. Like, this was going to be a romp as soon as it started. It was just going to be to show the brute physicality of these two, which is fine. I don't really mind that. Hager's probably one of the biggest blokes in AEW, and you know, I've said on length how I feel about Chris Jericho and everything that he deserves. He is fantastic, getting wins, getting title shots, being a beast. I mean, he also has the best entrance in AEW. Let me tell you, watching the crowd sing along to Judas it just gives me shivers up my back, and you can see every time he comes into the ring, he's trying to be a hard ass, he's trying to be a bad guy, but he just has the biggest shit-eating grin on his face, and you can just see it's really touching him to see that it has that effect on him. Especially shout out to Fozzy, it's his own music, so that's another little cool thing. But there was some savage spots in this, especially a table spot from Joey Janela. I think he got thrown off the stage through a table, and Hager manhandled him onto that thing. It looked savage. Absolutely savage. Just on Joey Janela again, can I say? This dude is like, he seems to be a bit of a party boy. He's the bad boy, you know? He's got a bit of Macho Man-esque to him, a bit of... yeah, just a bit of a bit of a party boy sort of thing. A bad boy. But for some reason, he wrestles in beige trunks. Like, that makes no sense to me. Wouldn't you have the bad boy in, like, red or black? Or if he's a bit of a party boy, you know, like glittery shit or fucking, you know, just multicolored stuff. Like, just didn't... It's one thing... That's a big from me. Not happy with the kit at the moment, Joey. But Sonny Kiss showed out in this. Joey Janela copped a beating for most of it. As I said, went through a table. But then Sonny Kiss came in and took it to both of them, which was great to see. It's a good rub. Sonny is one of the most athletic and flexible performers and uses those two skills just absolutely amazing. Like doing that splits leg drop, absolutely love it. Absolutely love it. Fantastic wrestler. And in the end, Jericho and Hager managed to get the win in a pretty comedic way. I guess, shout out to the first promo with MJF and all that. We all know Jericho has great comedic chops, but, he sprayed Sonny Kiss with a fire extinguisher. blinded Sonny Kiss, and Jake Hager came in and hit this massive power slam for the win, which, again, looked pretty goddamn savage. In fact, most of the things that Hager does, and I mean, he's coming from that MMA background, so it's not surprising they're trying to build him up to be an absolute monster. But yeah, he just looks like he looks very stiff what he's doing, which is fine by me. He needs that. He needs that sort of effect. And after this, we cut to MJF, the mic god, in his campaign room, and he dismissed everyone. This dude had fucking snapped. Gum Guy is gone. There is no more Gum Guy. The only dude that was left standing was Wardlow, and he saved him for last. He was absolutely in Wardlow's face, and I mean, it's kind of humorous to see the size disparity between Wardlow and MJF, because you know that Wardlow would just, if it was a real thing, he would absolutely stomp MJF. But alas, this is the way it is. And Wardlow was made to remember that MJF actually pays his paychecks, which great little story. He's obviously on the campaign payroll, and so just as Wardlow was getting ready to sock MJF in the mouth, MJF reminded him about the payroll situation and sort of said to him in a really, really great line, "Do we have a problem? Do we have a problem?" And I love that. He just sounded like such an asshole. I loved it. I absolutely love it. And after MJF, we obviously had to have Jon Moxley talk about some stuff after All Out, which is fine. Mox just cut one of his normal promos, which sort of referred to Lance Archer, sort of saying he's ready for the fight. Doesn't matter how big the tree is, you still get chopped down. And that's fine. It's just standard Mox. He's good enough. Shout out to him as well for being number 1 on the PWI 500. That's a massive achievement for him. I know he's been featured not that highly, not as high as number 1 before, but been up there in his earlier days. So it's really good to see. Get the recognition he deserves. And I mean, massive, massive tip of the hat to AEW. They got the number 1 wrestler in the world right now. So that's a huge draw for them. I mean, I can't imagine the amount of people who've probably sat up and taken notice of the Moxley getting that. It's really, really a fantastic thing in a lot of different ways. Another promo after this, we had FTR coming to the ring with Tully Blanchard to get there to celebrate winning the tag team titles and decimating the relationship that was once Kenny Omega and Hangman Adam Page. It was I really liked it. One of the really cool things about FTR is they're so old school in everything they do. They even hold their belts the old school way. Like, you remember seeing Ric Flair in the 80s? He's holding it like a handbag, on his hips, rather than wearing it over the shoulder, around the waist. He's holding it like a handbag, or like a puppy dog underneath him, resting it on his hips. And, I mean, it works for these guys. It's an old school looking tag team title. These guys are old school through and through. So it works for them, and it really helps the character. It really builds their legitimacy in a lot of ways. The weird thing is, they had pretty much every tag team in the rich tag team division that is AEW. And, you just knew because they were all out there, it was just going to be a matter of time before someone stepped up to them and said, all right, enough of this celebration. Let's fight. Let's do this. You're not the best tag team. We're the best tag team. And I'm stoked to say that was Jurassic Express. I'm so happy that it was those guys. It could have been anybody else, but it was those guys. And next week they're getting a non-title match. I haven't seen a non-title match for a champion in a very long time. I mean, fighting champs are the best champs. Am I right, people? But it's another old school element. And I remember when I first started watching wrestling in the big leagues and stuff like that, it was always a non-title match against the champion. And if they lost it, which happened on more than one occasion, then obviously the contestant would get a world title shot at the next pay-per-view. And that's a cool way to do it. Again, they just play by a bygone era, which is fine. Having Tully around really helps solidify that. And Ricky Starks came out after that. Oh my God damn him. I'm so sick of this shit with him and Darby Allin. My God. can just end. And I mean, I think this is the third time he's dressed up as Darby Allin and tried to impersonate him. I don't know why Darby wasn't there. I mean, obviously, he must have been taking the week off because he got so injured by being thrown onto the stage in a bag full of thumbtacks, which is cool. I mean, but it doesn't rub off on Ricky Starks. It rubs off on Brian Cage being a fucking machine. Ricky, just fuck Ricky Starks. That's all I gotta say. Not a fan. Not a fan. Don't know where he's going. Don't know what he's doing. Just a useless wrestler. Finally, we had another match. Tay Conti versus Nyla Rose. If you remember correctly, Tay Conti got offered a contract to join the Dark Order, which it looked like she accepted. So in my eyes, as soon as this match started, I was pretty sure the Queen Slayer was going to come down and give her the assist. So, she gets that victory. But you got to remember, Nyla Rose is the number one contender and or number one ranked female wrestler. And she has the queen of cheap heat, Vicky Guerrero. That line, excuse me, I'm never going to say it the way she does. Never, ever. That gets the most egregious boos out of people so instantaneously. And I mean, it's not like she's trying to do it politely, which is fantastic, but it's just, oh my God, it's so good. Like, even during the match, he's just saying, excuse me. Oh my God, I did it. I'm sorry, everyone. But yeah, this match was really cool. Like I said, I was hoping the Queen Slayer came out and sort of interfered to give Tay Conti the win. That would be really cool. I mean, she came out and it looked like she had tears in her eyes because it was her first televised or her first match with AEW and stuff like that. So that was a really cool, tender moment. But she wiped him away and she had to face the beast, Nyla Rose. And I don't know, like I said, it would have been cool to see the Queen Slayer come out, but Tay Conti put in a hell of a fight. This match was really, really fantastic. I was really, really excited and impressed with Tay Conti. I'm seeing a little bit of her, but yeah, man, she absolutely goes, which is fantastic. And after this, I can't remember who came out. I just remember Shida came out as well. I think Shida might have come out to protect Tay Conti, but Shida seems to be coming out and protecting all of the female wrestlers, which is a bit bizarre. But, she's the champion. She can do what she wants. Her match against Thunder Rosa was one of the best matches at All Out. I hope they continue to have a respectful feud between the two of them. But, yeah, shout outs to Shida. She's doing good stuff. Next up, we had Kenny Omega being interviewed by good old JR, which, classic interview. I still remember one time when he interviewed Kane and Kane lit him on fire. Ugh, scarred me for life. I think that really stood out, that was really bizarre, these guys were sitting pretty much with their legs at 180 degrees. My God, it was so goddamn wide. They must have been wearing the lowest cut jeans or pants or whatever. But this interview was so funny for just the wrong reasons. It just sounded like Kenny just broken up with Hangman. It was just a bunch of soliloquies about that you could honestly take what he said and apply it to breaking up with someone. It was absolutely his. Make a very big point of saying that he is focusing on his singles run, and I mean, obviously that's to push the story, and I expect him to do that. But let's hope he can go back to his cleaner mode, because that would be just hectic watching him snapdragon suplex just every motherfucker in sight. Oof! I look forward to seeing that. I look forward to it, but. Some of the things that he was saying was just absolutely horrendous. We had that magic, Hangman and I. I found my purpose, and I hope Hangman finds his purpose in the future. We found out a bit about ourselves. And then, I've got my own dreams, my own goals, and I can't let someone like Hangman stop me from reaching my dreams and my goals. Like, Jesus Christ, guys, get a goddamn room and kiss and make up. Far out. It could be done so much more psychological or just not as childish. Oh, yeah, it's all right. These two are good enough. When they finally fight, the match will be absolutely hectic. I can't wait. Now, the main event for this episode of Dynamite was Dustin Rhodes versus Mr. Brody Lee. And one thing that really stood out for me straight away was Dustin's ovation with, I think, 20% of the crowd or 10% or however many people they allowed in Daly's place was absolutely amazing. Easily the biggest pop of the night for sure. And I mean, well deserved. The man's a living legend, been doing it for 37 years, somehow over 4 decades, but hey, it is what it is. Brody Lee only came out with one other dude from the Dark Order, which blew my mind. I thought they would have, tried to intimidate the Nightmare family. They all come out, and then all of a sudden, there's Scorpio, there's Arn, there's Matt, what's his name? Then there's Brandy. You know, everyone comes out and QT Marshall. They could all come out and take up. They could pretty much do one half of the ring each side, two on each side, and sort of it's a 50-50 playing field for that sort of stuff. My surprise, it was a great match. Let me tell you, Dustin pulled some moves I've never seen him do before. This dude, I can see why they call him the Natural. Jesus, this guy it looks like he just watches a wrestling match that he's never seen with moves he's never seen, and all of a sudden he just knows how to do them. It's absolutely crazy. And then you factor in his age. Like, this dude moves so well. I got to look up his injury history and see if he's done it. But there was some absolutely amazing moves. Like, he did a crossroads, did a standard Canadian destroyer, which I'm flabbergasted he can hit a Canadian destroyer. Like, far out. A cannonball senton from Dustin Rhodes. And even just your old stock standard grab the back of the tights and drop. Awesome. I mean, Brody Lee came back and, he got the win. I don't think Dustin was ever a chance to win this match. Brody was always going to win this one. It looks like they're setting him up for a massive monster run. But I loved at the end of it, they just started calling him Psycho Eyes. I mean, the dude does have psycho eyes, and he's got a psycho beard to go with it. He looks like he belongs in the backwoods, in a shanty, in a swamp, just polishing his title, and when someone steps on his land, he challenges them to a fight for the title and just beats the shit out of him and feeds him to the gators. That's what he looks like to me. After the match, he celebrated, obviously, and the rest of the Dark Order came out, but he kicked Colt Cabana out of the ring. I thought he'd only just got in the good graces and fully accepted the Dark Order within the last month. So, bit weird that that's happening, but I thought the cool thing that happened was that Evil Uno left with him, with his arm around him and stuff like that. Maybe there's going to be a little bit of something. It'll be interesting to see if Stu Grayson tag teams with someone other than Evil Uno, and if Uno tag teams with Colt Cabana in the future, sort of as a splinter of the Dark Order. I'd like to see that. I think that'd be really cool. I mean, Grayson and Evil Uno are absolute monsters, but hey, watching Colt Cabana go is always fun. I don't quite understand why he's not as used as other people. I mean, their signing of him was kind of a big deal. He's beloved in the internet circles. I mean, he's a very funny man, don't get me wrong. But, yeah, I just feel like he could be utilized a little bit better. But that's just me. It was kind of, again, there wasn't, I think Scorpio Sky came out. I don't remember. It was a long time ago that I watched the episode. So I've watched the next one on the 16th of September since then. So I'm a little bit muddled up on who came out at the end when the Dark Order came out. But I think it might have just been to bring Dustin back home safely. And we all know Scorpio Sky's got a title shot again coming up. So it's going to be interesting. Okay. The second bit of our Iron Man podcast is reviewing the 16th of September episode of AEW Dynamite. That's right, 2 for 1, people, 2 for 1. And it started off with Jurassic Express already in the ring, so they were obviously going to have their match with FTR straight away, which is good. I like that. Good start to the show. It's going to be a good tag match no matter what. But before FTR came out, the Young Bucks just stormed into the ring and super kicked the referee. I said it a few minutes ago. I don't quite get this vindictive action of theirs. It doesn't fit them in any way. If I'm honest, it just seems a little bit awkward and forced, which I hope this pays off because they're talented enough. It could potentially. But yeah, this is not hitting the mark for me at the moment. And I mean, explain yourselves. Just cut a promo. Tell us why you're Tell us what you're gonna keep doing, or tell us why you're angry. Tell us what you're gonna do to everyone. Just explain to it. But after that, I loved it. FTR standing in the gorilla position, just talking absolute shit to them. It was fantastic. I mean, it was a cool little moment as well where the Young Bucks threw 10 grand at Tony Khan. That was cool. I didn't like that badassness, but that fits them more than just going out and super kicking him. Like that's a little bit of a douche move, which these guys could probably do. But pulling off this super aggressive, no nonsense, just not talking, not explaining themselves, that doesn't fit it for me. At the start of this match, it really felt like again, with FTR, it was a really old school feel to it. Lots of arm drags, lots of holding positions, lots of simple submissions, simple moves. I don't think we saw anyone go off the ropes until I think just before the 10-minute marker of the match, which I love that they announced that. Again, another little old school shout out that AEW do, mentioning the time halfway through the match to alert the wrestlers. That's good. I like that. But yeah, lots of really simple old style matches like you'd see with someone in the 80s or in the 70s. Really fantastic. And I mean, it's good. Obviously, FTR can wrestle that way. They're one of the best in the world. But seeing someone like Jungle Boy transition from, his normal high-flying antics to go into something like this was really good to see. And it was just going to be a good match. Obviously, Luchasaurus is such a difference maker. This dude is always built up to be an absolute monster, taking everyone out. But again, Jungle Boy is just getting so much better every week. And it's really showing in not only the length of time he's getting in the match, but also and the moves that he's hitting, but also in how long his overall matches are going. Like tag matches with him and Luchasaurus are going for a really long time. I'm surprised this one stayed under the 20-minute tag limit. And it's a pay-per-view quality match already to start off the show. And, FTR managed to get the win. It wasn't for the title, so there was nothing at stake, but they cheated to get it. They used some sneaky tactics. They made sure the referee couldn't see him holding hands, and they got the extra leverage and pinged Jungle Boy, which is, out doing what they're doing. It's good to keep that run. They're heels, so to see him cheat like this is really nice. I like that. I think it really builds their character a little bit, makes them seem like, they're the assholes. They're just out there trying to be better than everyone, and as MJF says, they know it. So it's good to see. Now, after this match, we cut to backstage, and Matt Hardy was just laid the hell out. Mark Quinn and Isaiah Cassidy were nearby, and this was obviously done so that he could have more time to recover and get cleared to wrestle again from his concussion. A bit weird that they played an injury angle, unless they're sort of going back to like, oh, he just fainted on us, like, oh my God, is he okay? But I don't think they're going to do that. That's pretty bad taste. I think Matt's promo last week made it seem like as soon as he's cleared, he's going to come back. That would have been the time to do it. But now we already know that he's not medically cleared for a concussion. Because seeing him out injured was just a bit of a weird, like, yeah, we know he's not wrestling. He got messed up at All Out. We all saw it. He could barely walk. Jericho and Hager walk past because they're about to verse Private Party, and they just talk some shit to them, saying, oh, is Matt hurt? Oh my God. Oh. And I loved it. Jericho can do whatever he wants. That dude is a god. So the demo god, sorry. So it's gonna be those guys later on. Once we cut back into the ring, there was Frankie Kazarian versus Hangman Adam Page on AEW Dynamite on a weekly televised free for everyone to watch show. Like, that is mental. Like, that is a mental match. I sat down and saw that this match was on the card, and I almost cried with excitement. I've loved Frankie Kazarian all of his wrestling career. This dude is one of the most underrated wrestlers, I think, in the last 10 years. This dude, he can do any style, absolutely any. And obviously Hangman's like one of the best young wrestlers in AEW / the world. So it's fantastic. And, they have Kenny on commentary, which is kind of like, watching your ex-girlfriend wrestle, I guess. Like, just a weird play. I don't quite get it. It was, they kept on playing up the relationship of the two of them, and as much as they tried, even though they used words like rekindle and everything like that, worried about Hangman's emotional conditioning. His physical conditioning is okay, Tony, but I'm just worried about his emotional conditioning. I mean, I'm pretty sure at one stage, Kenny actually squealed when Kazarian landed the big move and he was about to lose. Like, God, he sounded like a girl the entire match. And I get it. They broke up. They're no longer a tag team. But Jesus Christ, you guys are mature men. Handle your business, please. And back to the actual good stuff. This, even though all that went on, it couldn't take away from this match. This match was back and forth again. I'm surprised this didn't hit the time limit of 20 minutes. And I wish it did. They should have given him half an hour. God damn. These two boys tore it down. Oh my God. They threw everything at each other. So many big moves, so many cool spots, so many just great counters. And in the end, Hangman hit Buckshot Lariat out of nowhere to nail Frankie Kazarian, which is a huge win. He's trying to, he doesn't want to be in a tag team, but God, I hope this one puts him back in the rankings, because that's going to be super funny, because it's a huge win for him. And Really good momentum builder. I don't know what they're going to do with this Kenny Hangman business with the Elite, because it's like, are the Young Bucks involved? Are the Young Bucks not involved? Because if I remember correctly, when the Young Bucks started turning into assholes, that was when Kenny got pissed off and left, right? At All Out, and said, are you coming with me or not? And then they sort of turned into the good guys and were like, no, we don't want to do that. Like, it was a total character break in my mind of that moment. It didn't really make sense to me when that happened. So yeah, like what's their involvement in this and what's gonna happen, you know? But if you haven't seen this match, I implore you to see this match. It is a masterclass. And let me tell you, so far this episode has been absolutely choice. Next up, we had another match. I guess they're making up for all the promos from last week's episodes. MJF versus some jobber. I mean, we all know it was going to happen. It was. I love his entrance. You know, his slow walk. This happened in the picture-in-picture moment, so they obviously asked him to, extend the entrance, and it was great. He's walking around to fans, going, "Please kiss my pinky ring. Please kiss my pinky ring. You want to kiss my pinky ring?" He even went up to the roster that stands by this that's at ringside and asked them to kiss their ring. Like, such a disrespectful move. I fucking love it. This kid is a beast. Last week he snapped, so it's going to be interesting to see what sort of physicality he comes out with. And if I'm honest, the match was shorter than his entrance, which is hysterical. Like, this jobber just got like one punch in, and then for some, oh no, that's right, MJF rang the bell, MJF poked him in the eyes, and he just locked in the salt of the earth, and the dude tapped instantaneously. It was absolutely hectic. I mean, there's a reason for that. MJF cut a wicked promo afterwards, and he's talking about making people announce him as if he is the undisputed, undefeated, uncrowned AEW champion. And I mean, I've never really liked wrestlers proclaiming that they were the champion because they got cheated. To me, it never really worked. Like, it's a fight business. You got to fight to win the championship. If you lost the fight, you lost the fight. It doesn't matter how you lose it, you lost. That's how I see it. So seeing him try and claim that he's uncrowned is a bit like, oh, come on, bro. There's stronger ones for you to this. But the other part that really stood out for me was he was talking about how stables run AEW. And I mean, he's goddamn right. Like, think about it. You got Dark Order, you got Eddie Kingston's posse, you got the Nightmare Family, you got the Inner Circle. So there's a ton of stables that pretty much run the show. So MJF sort of alluded to either A, joining a stable, or B, starting a stable. And I'm all for that. I think he would make A great mouthpiece, but B, a great leader. And it'd be interesting to see who up to his quality control level. Like, I don't really know who they're going to choose to partner with him if they do go down this line, because he's a strong singles competitor. And I mean, he's already got one person by his right hand side in Wardlow, so he doesn't need another beast. So I think he's going to look for just maybe either someone who's a bit of a hardcore guy or a bit of a more physical wrestler. So it's going to be interesting to see who he manages to pull together if he does. I'm still on the fence about this. I think it'd be good because I think it'd be good if MJF joins a faction, because he's so good he can make anything work. And I mean, because of that, it could also be good if he stays solo and eventually has a fight with Wardlow. So he can do what he's at a stage now where he's on the mic so well, and he's so young and he's so talented. I think they've almost given him the keys to this and are going to let him run and lead the charge. I don't see him leaving the main event spotlight anytime soon. I think he's going to be there for years to come. So, again, interesting to see what's going to happen from here with him. Is he going to join a faction or not? I hope he does. I just hope they don't give him a shitty goddamn name. That's my main thing. Next was this bullshit promo of Taz analyzing Ricky Starks. My fucking God, if he says Ricky Starks one more time, I'm going to shoot myself. He said it 8 goddamn times in like a minute promo. Variants of either Ricky Starks, Ricky, or Starks. And it was just, I don't get why you're trying to build him up to be Brian Cage when he's not Brian Cage and he has Brian Cage. Like, he's not the powerful beast. He's a cerebral douche athletic kid. Like, play up to that. Like, God, and finish your shit with Darby Allin. God damn it. I'm so done with that. Next was Eddie Kingston came to the ring with his family, and I really loved a couple of things that he did there. Again, Eddie Kingston speaks with such passion and such pride all of the time. You really feel something when he talks. You feel like you get that he's been hard done by, which is good. That's who he is, and that's what he's doing, and that's who he's trying to play. Now, straight away, he says he's got 3 things to talk about. First one was that he didn't lose the Casino Royale. Now, I haven't gone back to watch the All Out Casino Royale, but my thinking is he may have not gone over the top rope before Jake the Snake scared him off of the apron with the snake. I think he might have gone through the middle rope. I'm going to have to watch that and confirm that for you all next podcast. But yeah, I think that may be the case. And I mean, if that's true, holy shit, chuck him into the Lance Archer, John Moxley stuff, and let's have a 3-way. Let's have a 3-way match between those two. I mean, I think Kingston's a big guy, so I don't know, and like Moxley's not the most agile guy either, and Archer's probably more agile than both of them. So I think having him in the ring with those two would be really beneficial for Eddie Kingston. It definitely fits his style, and especially John Moxley just wanting to beat the shit out of each other. Or everyone around them. Now, he also named his posse or family a few different things, the family of violence or the agents of chaos. They were both chucked around. I really like family of violence. I really do. Like Butcher and Blade, they just look like mean dudes. And the Lucha Brothers are they're crazy. And I know it. Penta pulls off this really crazy vibe, which is cool. I'm into that. And Eddie Kingston's just a tough, mean dude, which, family of violence fits them well. And it was kind of funny. They dragged a couple of nobodies from the ring side into the into the ring, sorry, and just wailed on them. Everyone the 2 tag teams hit their finishes on each other, and all the while Eddie Kingston's just in the corner yakking about, "Oh, that one hurt, didn't it? That didn't it? Come on, Poppy, get him, Poppy." Semi-commentating, semi like inspiring his guys to just beat people up, which is cool. I'm into that, but yeah, it was really good. One of my favorite things happened again. Ray Phoenix jumped into Butcher's arms again and like wrapped his legs around his waist, and like Butch held him with one arm. Like I saw that happen when they got together, and I just loved it. It was so cute. I hope that those two are like best friends or something like that. And it seemed like the internet noticed afterwards as well. So I'm glad that they probably recognized that and repeated that thing, because that was awesome. I popped so hard for that. And then the last thing that happened was Eddie took a moment and looked Blade directly in the eye, who he made a point when these guys joined together that he's known him the longest, and they've done everything together. He said, just something simple, get your house in order. And that's all he said. And Blade just looked at him and nodded. So, God, maybe that's some personal shit. Maybe that's just pull your head out of your ass. I don't know. But, it's always a mystery with Eddie Kingston, and that's always that's part of his character, and I kind of like that, the mystery of how did he not lose the Casino Royale? We saw him get eliminated. What do you mean by get your house in order? Stuff like that. I dig him, and I dig his future. I know it's going to be a good one. After that, we had Private Party versus Y2J and Jake Hager. Again, same thing as last week. That Private Party are young, athletic, really, really talented, but they were never going to win this match. They'll probably give it a good showing, but in terms of tag teams and rungs on the ladder, these guys are just above Joey Janela and Sonny Kiss, so there was no way they were losing. They were going to win this Jake Hager and Y2J match. Not surprisingly, we had Hager and Y2J just beat on these guys for so long, but it was funnier before the match. There was just some funny things or during the match. I don't know. It was a great match, and like Private Party really wrestled well, but their styles are so contrasting. You knew as soon as they started beating on these guys, Private Party, it was just they wouldn't be able to do the high flying moves, so they got all their high flying moves done early, and then. Yeah, I mean, Hager slipped outside at one stage. That was pretty funny. I'm pretty sure he was going to pose with Jericho, and he tried to get up onto the apron, and he just fell flat on his ass. That was really funny. And just a quick note as well, ladies and gentlemen, I just want to give a quick shout out to the great man, Chris Jericho. He is the reason why I have 2 nicknames at the start of this show, the High Ranger and the Mess from the West. I only had one before I started watching AEW, and now I've just decided 2 nicknames is what the Demo God Le Champion has. I can do it too. So shout out to him, And yeah, this was just another great match. The contrast in styles, although, again, like I said, Private Party got a lot of their high-flying offense off early on in the match. Hager's and Y2J's physicality, that it was a good blend of the two. And when Mark Quinn finally got in, it was great to see. He really just started. He threw some great moves in, some high-impact moves, because he was obviously the fresh man, got the hot tag and everything like that. But as predicted, Y2J and Jake Hager got the win with a Judas Effect elbow, which, was kind of, again, a funny moment. Isaiah Cassidy got smacked with it, and he's there after he got pinned, he rolled over, and his leg's like twitching. It's like, Jesus, I get a back elbow is going to knock someone out, but far out, Jericho's old as shit. That ain't, like, if Hager did that, yeah, I'll buy it. He'd probably knocked him into the fifth dimension. But Jericho's doing it, you just, like, you get the pin, that's about it. But they're playing the Judas Effect off like it's, like, the most devastating finisher ever. And I mean, after the match, Jericho kept on laying into Isaiah Cassidy, and Mark Quinn came in and hit one of my favorite moves from wrestling, the Pele kick. Absolutely love that. Shout out to AJ Styles, first person I ever saw do the Pele kick. Loved it. I was so amazed. It's like, oh my God, soccer in wrestling. Amazing. We had another match after this, which was the NWA Women's Champion, one of my favorite wrestlers right now, Thunder Rosa versus Ivelisse. Very non-American vibes here, which is great. I absolutely loved it. And thank you, Mr. Corgan, for allowing this match to happen and continuing the partnership between NWA and AEW. Now, because I'm recording this after this episode, I have found out since then that Serena Deeb has actually signed for AEW in what I think is the first cross-promotion signing. I don't know of anyone else who in AEW is wrestling in NWA, but I know Serena Deeb has definitely had an NWA title shot on the NWA wrestling shows against Thunder Rosa within the last few months, so I'm not surprised. And it was just, it's a no-brainer for both teams. Like, seeing the success of AEW, NWA has sort of faded into obscurity to almost the fourth big brand, or fourth major brand of wrestling. I mean, the big leagues are so far in front at the moment, it's not even funny, but AEW are clawing them in. And I think if you hitching yourself to this wagon is a goddamn smart idea, and there's talented wrestlers in both promotions. So having a bit of cross action, I think, can only benefit everyone involved. Absolutely. So I hope they really continue to push this and continue the talent sharing. And I mean, it's going to be interesting. Contracts are a tricky thing, but I really hope they can pull this off. And Mr. Corgan would be just stupid to not do this in my eyes. This was a really great match. I really, really, really enjoyed it. Thunder Rosa can just flat out wrestle. She is a beast. And Ivelisse is someone who can keep up with her. And my God, she did. There were I'm pretty sure Ivelisse even hit her finisher on Thunder Rosa at one stage in it, but obviously Thunder Rosa being the champ kicked out. And it was great to see. It was great to see someone be able to keep up with her. Like I said, like a couple of weeks ago, Serena Deeb, she could keep up with Thunder Rosa. So it's good that they're giving her competition that is up to her scratch, up to her level. It's good to see because she's someone who deserves the spotlight and relishes it and really wants to put on the best show every time. And these two girls really did. Diamante was down with Ivelisse at the ringside, and that was obviously they won the tag team cups that AEW ran a while ago. And after it was for the NWA Women's title, so you knew the title was never going to change hands, even though it was on the line. NWA, although they've started partnering together, they're not going to let a championship of theirs be decided on another TV program. I don't think that's a wise decision if they do this. So it was pretty obvious Ivelisse was gonna lose this match, and sure enough, she did. And Thunder Rosa hit a goddamn tombstone pile driver. My God, ugh, love that shit. Love that shit. Shout out the Undertaker. That was just fucking sick. I love that. That was such a cool spot. I'm so in on her. I hope she's on Dynamite every week. And she's just fantastic. After she nailed that tombstone, however, Diamante came in to protect her best friend, her tag team partner, not best friend, sorry, that's another tag team. And came up and just, hit her from behind, started wailing on her. And she just spent the whole match watching from ringside as if she was going to wrestle the winner of the match again. I don't know. Maybe she's scouting. I don't know. She's already beat Thunder Rosa and she's beat Ivelisse. So I don't quite get why she was there. Bit of a weird decision, especially for her not to. Yeah, I don't know, but yeah, as soon as you saw her in the crowd and you saw Diamante, you knew that once Diamante, whoever came in first was gonna save the other one, and sure enough, Diamante came in first, and Sheeta came in and actually saved Thunder Rosa, picked up her NWA Women's Championship, and actually put it back on her shoulder, which the commentators were talking up as like a massive sign of respect. Massive sign of respect. Oh my God, we have such a gracious champion, which is true. It is a huge moment to do and a really good, cool thing. It shows that there is a level of camaraderie, albeit if it is legitimate or not. I still like it as a move. No, it's just a nice touch. It shows she's a classy lady, which doesn't surprise me. Sheeta's got a great reputation all over the world. We cut backstage after that to see Kip Sabian and Miro talk about this best man nonsense again. Miro just looks hungry to destroy people. He just wants to be fed wrestlers and just churn them out the other side as bloody pulps. I'm stinging for him to debut. I hope it's next week. He has been it. I guess that would be his quarantine period. I don't know if he's had to travel there. 2 weeks before he can wrestle. He debuted last week. This is the second. Yeah, I think next week he should be cleared to wrestle if that's what they're doing. But yeah, I'm not a fan of this partnership with Kip Sabian. It's a bit weird. I don't quite get how they know each other or what they're doing, or if he's there to be muscle or something like that. But the sooner we can see Miro dominate people, the better, in my eyes. Afterwards, then Lance Archer and Jake Roberts came to the ring. Lance did his usual shtick of grabbing someone from the crowd and just pummeling them to a pulp before doing anything. I mean, I get it. He's a beast. He's a crazy man. He's a psycho. So, do what you got to do. It's a cool little thing. I don't know anybody else who beats someone up on the way to the ring. It really should send a message to his opponent. So maybe against Jon Moxley, he takes out like 4 people, carries 2 over each shoulder, just dumps them onto the stage and says, "This is what I did before I did you." I don't know. Jake Roberts started cutting some bullshit stuff like he was a goddamn poet. I don't know. He weirds me out. I don't quite get his vibes. I know they always say that he's a weird guy when they're on commentary and stuff like that. He's disturbed or whatever, but doing this poetry didn't really hit the spot for me. And in the end, he did call out Taz. And, Taz and Jake Roberts and Cage and Archer and have really been going toe-to-toe together, I guess. And it was revealed by Taz that should Lance Archer win, Brian Cage gets the first title shot at Archer, which, God, part of me actually does hope that happens, because that would just be a crazy, crazy match. And I mean, I don't even know where the referee would fit in the ring between these two. Alas. So, in the end, it was settled. In the end, Moxley interrupted them and basically said that it's going to be a 6-man tag match. So I hope you're ready for it, boys. It's going to be Brian Cage, Lance Archer versus Jon Moxley and two fellow tag team members of his choosing. And Mox came out, started talking about who he should choose, and before he could even get many words in, he got attacked, absolutely blindsided by fucking Ricky Starks and Brian Cage. And I mean, I get it. You hear Lance Archer and Jake Roberts going, "Yeah, that's it. Soften him up for the anniversary episode. Let's make it so he doesn't make it there. Let's destroy him." But Will Hobbs came from nowhere with a steel chair and just started laying dudes left and right. Smashed Starks, smashed Cage, made him run with the tail between their legs, and then he got a huge rub from Jon Moxley. I mean, this is the #1 wrestler in the world right now, and he is announcing you like a goddamn ringside announcer, announcing you to the world. What a rub. Like, I think Will Hobbs is going to have big things in front of him. I already like him more than Keith Lee. But, yeah, I think Will Hobbs has a bright future. So that was going to be his second tag team partner. And, Moxley looked in the camera and he said, "Darby Allin, you need to get your ass down to Jacksonville straight away. We have an ass kicking to give." So, it works. I'm into it. It's hopefully going to be the end of Starks and Darby. I hope Darby drags him off and just drags him to a deep, dark place and just destroys him so he destroys this feud. I'm so done with it. But seeing Will Hobbs go against such high level of competition, it's going to be interesting to see how he goes, because in the Casino Royale match when Matt Sydal slipped and fell right on top of him, he was he seemed to be in his ear checking if he's okay. He seems like he's well respected within the group, and he's finally signed a contract with AEW as well. So shout out to Will Hobbs. I hope you get big, bright things in your future, my friend. Then there was what we were all looking forward to, the main event of this Dynamite, the parking lot brawl between Best Friends and Santana and Ortiz. Now, I'll be honest, Chucky T looks fine now. It doesn't look like he's injured anymore. If he was injured, I haven't read anything about that. That's just my hypothesis. He landed badly that day, I tell you. Ugh. Didn't look good. But yeah, being able to do a parking lot brawl, that means you're ready to go. And I mean, this feud has been played out, so maybe that has played an aspect to it as to why they've had to drag this feud out for so long. But, oh well. Santana and Ortiz came out and they looked like guys from the dead presidents. They looked badass. Like full white and black makeup. That was sick. You knew they came to fight. And, like, mad respect to every competitor in this match. Like, every moment in this looked like it hurt. Like, everything from the start to the end. At one stage, Ortiz threw a sledgehammer at Chucky T's head, like a baseball, like, or two-handed. I don't know how he threw it, just with two hands, and it went through the windshield of the ute that was parked there. Like, if that hit him, like, Jesus Christ, oh my God! And if he fobbed it, it'd be so embarrassing. Seeing these guys get mashed under a bonnet, like, I've touched a bonnet. I know how hard a bonnet of a car is. Doesn't matter what you do to it to make it seem like to make it not hurt. It's gonna hurt when someone puts that on your body and jumps from the roof of the car onto the bonnet. Like, I'm pretty sure. Oh, and the double power bombs that they did as well. Like, oh my God, the second one through the glass. Oh, that was absolutely savage. Even Santana getting, like, just smashed headfirst into the mirror and busted open. Like, just everything was so brutal, absolutely brutal. I mean, this was a great match. This capped off. This was fantastic. And later it was found out that who was hiding in the trunk? Orange Cassidy. We needed a wild Cassidy sighting for this episode. He hadn't been seen all episode long after his match with Angelico last week. But near the end, when Santana and Ortiz were looking to pretty much win the match, Orange Cassidy popped out of the trunk. Orange punched one of them, and I can't remember what he did to the other one. And that led to the Best Friends landing their singles finishes, including a cradle pile driver, like, from the roof of the car through a wooden board onto the tray of a ute from Trent onto Ortiz. Like, that was brutal. Like, fuck me. And so, yeah, I didn't see the need for Orange Cassidy to come out. I mean, I know he's part of the clan, so obviously Sue's with him as well. So not surprising that he's trying to stand up for Sue. He's been too focused on his single stuff lately. But yeah, I don't know. Didn't feel like it was really a necessary component. They could have done that a bit differently. But because of that, the Best Friends won, and they redeemed Sue's pride and Trent made his mama proud. And there was some great moments afterwards. Orange Cassidy calling shotgun and running to the front seat. Sue driving off, stopping and flipping the bird at Santana and Ortiz. That was pretty cool. I was pretty happy with how that ended. And I found out later that these 4 or 5 competitors, I guess you could say, shot that entire match in one take. There were no reshoots in that. So that was all completely perfectly choreographed. And that episode of the 16th of September is easily one of the best episodes of AEW Dynamite that I have seen. The matches were fantastic. The promos were good. And if you're not a fan of Dynamite, I implore you to start watching from that episode at the very least, or at least watch that episode if you like wrestling, because it is a goddamn barnstormer. Everything about it was just really good. And after the disappointing couple of episodes before All Out being pretty good, not amazing, but pretty good. And then the last 2 weeks of Dynamite have really stepped the quality back up to what I know that these guys can be. So hats off to you guys. I'm really looking forward to next week's episode. I'm not gonna do anything on the 1 hour after basketball one. There's only 3 matches. I do it for Dynamite, and that's about it. Thank you all so much for listening.